I'm telling you, sometimes a company will have an amazing product, but if you cannot effectively communicate it, that's the bottom line. And it's not the AE's fault if he's not a designer. Follow-ups are probably 70% of what actually closes a sale than just selling.
Right.
I'm the founder and CEO of Criya AI. We're a Y Combinator and venture-backed startup. We essentially launched stunning, beautiful looking, perfectly authored collateral in 20 seconds with AI.
How many users?
Like just in 2023, we had over 40,000 users who actually used the platform, had placed bookings, exchanged coaching sessions. Essentially, you just enter a couple of information about yourself, enter your LinkedIn, and it'll spin up in 20 seconds a beautiful looking personal brand page. Everything is super dynamic. It's on brand. It's always going to be stunning looking. I think our AI will go significantly more than generative is what my prediction is. It's generative was great to produce content. But AI is so much more than that. It's usage behavior, it's, how do we enhance our searches? We will be doing a lot more insights driven.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on AI Insights here in San Francisco. I'm with Deb, and today we're going to talk about her awesome company. Also going to talk about AI in the future and any other things related to AI. Deb, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Rohan.
Yes. So can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. So guys, I'm the founder and CEO of Criya AI. We're a Y Combinator and venture-backed startup. We essentially launched stunning, beautiful looking, perfectly authored collateral in 20 seconds with AI.
Wow. All those solutions so fast. That is nice. To get into this product, how was your process? How was your path? You have been working in amazing companies before here in the US. And can you tell me about your work experience and also your education experience?
Yeah, certainly. So I grew up in India. I came to Carnegie Mellon, studied computer science, and then I started my career as an engineer at Microsoft. 13 plus years in the industry. I was eventually head of product at PayPal. I led PayPal's entire AI customer success agent experiences. And then on the side, I was always a side hustler. So I started dabbling on Instagram and started putting out a lot of visual content. And one thing led to another, grew to 170,000 followers. And that's kind of where the idea behind Criya came to me. So I coded the first version of Criya. Started having a lot of users join us. One thing led to another, went and applied to Y Combinator, and here we are.
Wow. You told me there was a challenge, right, before you start a company regarding to visas and things like that. I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that's passing through this, on this step right now.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
It was hard. It was hard. And, as an immigrant, one of the hardest things is you feel like you have this American dream. There's so much you want to do. But imagine if you're so crippled by visa and things like that. Like running a business is hard enough. Teams, users, product, all that, funding, runway. That's already hard. But then even if you cannot get started because you don't have the right visa or you don't even know if you're allowed to do this, is very hard. So, I started the company. The idea behind Criya came to me during COVID. I had to go through applying for EB-1A visa. For those who don't know what that is, that's an exception category for people to go and get their green cards. And they really only reserve this for exceptional cases. So a big part of my journey was making sure all my accomplishments were packaged well. So aside from my accomplishments at PayPal, I had to also, I used to write for Forbes. I had led successful P&L for my previous employers. I used to lead the Women in Product Bay Area chapter. All these things, had to be packaged in a way where the decision maker at USCIS can see and say, yes, let's make an exception for her. That's what I did. And we reapplied and we got a green card in 14 days. And that's how Criya was born.
You have been working on a side, so you have been working your full-time job, and this becomes as a passion, and that has this visa problem. But when was the moment that you realized that you are having a company and the things are growing, and also what was the moment that you find that was a problem that you could solve it?
Honestly, it's been there for some time. I don't think you come up with a problem overnight, right? You feel it in your gut. And for me, it started really from my Instagram days. I mean, guys, I joined Instagram when TikTok didn't exist. Can you imagine that? I was one of the OGs. I remember I would put out all kinds of content, fashion, me talking, coaching, all these things. And people would start DMing me saying, we really like this stuff. Can we learn more about you? Or they wanted to like hire me for something, and I couldn't, obviously monetize and stuff. But that's when I was like, I think there's an opportunity where you don't need to go code a website. Like there should be a way for me to easily put my presence and my professional presence out there. People should be able to notice me and, pick me, choose me. So that's actually when it started. Went through many different variations, by the way. Like my startup has gone through many different iterations from the first version where we were only creator focused. Then we were focused entirely on tech creators. So our product was used by literally like every company. I mean, from product managers at Meta, Walmart, Microsoft, we had over 40,000 users, and so on. And today we focus more on, B2B and so on. So
how many users?
We had over, just in 2023, we had over 40,000 users who actually used the platform, had placed bookings, exchanged, coaching sessions, things like that.
What about now? Is it still growing?
No, it's still growing. But like I said, we have now decided to focus a little bit more on B2B.
Oh, okay.
So
yes.
While that's continuing, part of my personal strategic focus is working more with B2B companies.
I see. And now, in your previous experience, in your previous companies have been working, what are the skills that you learned through this experience that led you to this product?
Many, I think. So firstly, I think at the heart of everything, I'm a product manager, and I'm good at it. And I'm good at it because I've done it for so many years.
Yes.
My first stint at product was basically, I took we were at a small startup that got incubated into a large company like Hitachi. So I was just managing a team of 4 engineers and me. We were going and pitching and everything. So I learned all those skills, not just about product, but managing small resources, small budgets, no brand recognition, and so on, right? Which is all true about a startup. And then taking it into PayPal, where I was leading the entire merchant user base of 300 million users who are actually using the platform. I was leading the entire AI agent experiences for them. So it was, dealing with that scale and volume, both from technology perspective, product perspective, people perspective, politics perspective, influence, everything. So yeah, all of that.
That was nice. And then all those experiences, you seeing things happen and you want, and you are faced the problem. That was the moment that you decided to do that. Was around the pandemic? Was when it was because you code, right?
I code, yeah.
Nice.
I do, yeah.
When was this moment that you started to develop?
Right around then, I think. So the ideas started for me during COVID. I would say just before COVID. And I think I coded honestly, I think I spent 1 month coding. And I put it out there. It was a horrible product.
This is the first, yeah.
And I knew pretty quickly the value in it was I started seeing so much. I coded the platform. I remember early days, I would actually just DM, because I had such a big following. So I would just DM people in my audience saying, please come and try it, and so on. And so I started getting a lot of traffic from there.
That was the MVP phase.
That was the MVP phase. And then after that, people just try it, but they don't give you feedback. So I started offering Starbucks gift card to people saying, give me 20 minutes of your time, I'll give you a Starbucks gift card, but you have to give me feedback. So many people would jump in and actually do it. And I was like, okay, I don't have more money.
I have more Starbucks.
But that's how I started getting, and it's true product management style, right? You really get feedback, you use the data, you improve. That's when I was like, okay, let me try applying to Y Combinator and seeing what to do, yeah.
And how was it?
It was awesome. The Y Combinator interview had Michael Seibel and some of the smartest people in the world, on the interview, and grilled me. But it was amazing because that evening I remember telling my husband, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get it. But I got a text in the evening saying we'd love to, it said call us. So we picked up the phone and called them, and they said we'd love to invite you in. I feel like my life literally changed after that. I think, I'm a solo female immigrant brown founder. Life is not easy for me. I don't have people who can just make intros. I don't have someone who can just, say, hey, why don't you come? My dad can write a check for you. I don't have that. So I couldn't even get the first check. It's not that easy, right? So fortunately for me, I actually got my first 1.2 million. Even the day I got Y Combinator, I also had my first 1.2 million term sheet. So
Nice.
that was a huge thing for me. So once I went to YC, it was like, okay, the world is here. Like, I'm ready for this. So yeah.
The moment that you enter Y Combinator, I think people look into you and the company at different eyes, right?
Exactly. Even hiring, I was able to hire some of the best talent, and people are really willing to listen. So yeah.
And how was to apply? What was the process? Because some people know about Y Combinator, but some people also think it's too far away for them.
I did too, honestly. I was not thinking of applying at all. I was like, I don't know, I'm a solo founder. There's so many myths around it. I just applied. And like I said, I had decided I'm going to do this. I had already quit my job in May. And guys, think about, I am not super young, right? So have already been in the industry for 13 plus years. I was already working toward my next promotion, have all these stocks and investments. I had to abandon everything, take a leap of faith, mortgage. My husband and I had to make a huge decision because making a change at this stage of my life is pretty significant.
Right.
So I did all that. And I was like, I'm going to do this, YC or not. So fortunately, I quit in May. I took a month's break, just chilled, went to Cancun, and then came back at Tulum.
To refresh the mind. Yeah, that was good.
Started really building the startup in June. By October, I had closed my 1.2. And I also got the YC interview that day, and they made the offer. So I think I went in with a sense of confidence, which is super important for really any conversation, whether it's YC or not, is my pitch to them was, I'm doing this. Whether you are willing to take a chance on me or not, that's up to you. I'm going to go do this. And I think that founder resiliency and just that grit is probably 80% of what they're looking, what I think helps. So yeah.
I noticed there's a lot of people that has very good ideas, but they don't have this confidence. And they need to be strong and bold on the actions. Like, hey, my product is good. They're going to solve their problems. We're going to grow together.
Yeah.
That's very, very important.
It's super important. And remember, early stages, especially when you're applying to YC, it's not about the product per se, it's you. Because during the journey of your startup, you're going to iterate, you're going to pivot, you're going to learn so much. So really what an investor is looking for is, do you as a founder or a founding team have the courage and the strength to go through those ups and downs, because it's a lot of ups and downs.
Coaster, yes.
That's what they're really looking for. And obviously, do you have the skill set and stuff to pursue? Yeah.
Nice. And now let's talk about your product. What do you offer? Imagine people that never open Kriya. What are you going to expect there?
So there's two parts to it. So we're both a consumer and a B2B product. So if you're a consumer, all you do is go on Kriya.co and essentially just enter a couple of information about yourself, enter your LinkedIn, and it'll spin up in 20 seconds a beautiful looking personal brand page. It's free. You can keep it forever. Everything is super dynamic. It's on brand. It's always going to be stunning looking. So I have students from Carnegie Mellon and Memphis and all of these different places that use our platform for their job search, all the way to speaking engagements and so on. So that's one aspect of it. The other part of it that we actually are building right now and have a lot of active usage around is actually for a purpose. So if you're an early stage startup, all the way to even Series A, Series B, you don't have a proper marketing team, a content team, and things like that. But when you pitch a customer or an investor, they're like, oh, send me your stuff. And it can take 2 weeks, can take 2 months to close. You have to be on top of sending them case studies, testimonials, pitch deck.
You need
to keep them engaged.
Yeah.
You can't spend time on this.
Right.
And with every conversation, it needs to be personalized, because you cannot just send generic stuff. So that's where we come in. In seconds, we generate with AI. Just dump some of your information. We generate pitch decks for you, fundraising pitch deck for you, case studies, any of the collateral that you need. And you can organize it. You can collaborate with your team. You can get fantastic analytics. If someone has just checked into your checked out your collateral or anything,
okay.
you'll
That's
get a
good.
ping saying, hey, this person's checked out, immediately do a follow-up, things like that, right? So we're trying to ease the burden on what it takes to actually make a sale or get an investment. That's the idea.
And this goes for the both sides, for the customer sides and B2B sides?
Everybody can technically use it. A lot of our consumers use it largely for like their own personal websites, but they also use it, like we have like small businesses. So I wouldn't say it's exactly consumer. I would focus more on SMBs. They want to send out, like we have a financial advisory company. They use this, they do mortgage, loans and stuff like that. So they'll send this out as proposals for their customers and so on.
Right.
Things like that.
And between final customers, small business, and then B2B customers that you have, what is the features difference and what do you suggest for a small company or like a bigger company to use your platform?
Great question. So we try to make it easy for everyone to get started. So even if you're a consumer, you can jump in and you get like a one-page asset for free. Truthfully, for a small business, the mid-tier is perfect because what you can do is everything that you need from content generation, design, style, analytics is built in. Okay, so that's perfect for like a small business. B2B, what happens is there's a lot of team collaborations, there is integration with like a Slack. So like if a customer has visited your profile, your portfolio, you want a Slack ping. Those types of things and custom branding, custom company information that bakes into the AI. So when you are, let's say you're trying to create a pitch deck about a certain, for a certain customer, if you already have company information baked into the AI model, you don't have to type it all in. Okay,
Right.
the input is already baked in, so it's trained to generate consistent content, no matter who in your team is building it. For an individual, that's not needed. You put in input, it generates output. Those are some differences, basically.
Okay. And now regarding to AI model that you use it, can we go a little bit more technical and explain how you're able to build those models and how you're able to make it's smart, things that a few years ago was not possible?
So much. I mean, so much. So I'll start from like three different aspects of it. One is just content authoring, right? Second thing is design. And I think it's a huge aspect because we don't talk about it enough. And then the third thing is security. Okay. So for content authoring, let's say you go to ChatGPT and you say, oh, I want to know about the benefits. Let's say you put your input and say, I want to know the benefits, write me the benefits of my platform. It's going to give you bullet points, whatever. They may be too long sentences, things like that. So the important thing is if you want it in a certain format in your pitch deck, maybe, short sentences, 6 bullet points, you feed it, you choose the type of content asset you want, plug in this input, it'll just perfectly generate it. If you want a grid, let's say 3 blocks with one headline, one subheadline, one headline, subheadline, with just 3-4 words, ChatGPT can, and you have to like cut and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just put bullet points, just put meeting notes, perfectly generated. So we had to train our model to learn how to create short form, visually appealing content so that the authoring is taken care of. And again, it's built in the tone and voice that you offer. So that's the authoring part. All the way, so people use it even like, I want to generate long white papers. So they'll have bullet points on the left, but like long blocks of text on the right. One input, it'll generate it for you. Things like that. Second thing is design. Design is something I'm super passionate about. Like, I really care about it.
Yeah, platform looks amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Because I think the big thing is that, when you're an entrepreneur, you're doing sales, even product management and stuff, right? You're not a designer. And we all take pride in the work, especially putting something in front of a customer or an investor, you want it to look professional. You don't want to be resizing boxes and changing color fonts and things like that. So our AI automatically detects if the background is dark, font is automatically light. If it's a yellow color, it already knows that a contrasting color will be green. So that's the extent to which we've designed the design so that you'll never have to worry about coloring. You just put in your base colors and it knows how to handle different kinds of content. And the third thing is security. This became really important to us because a lot of this we were like, okay, how much of the model do we need to train? This became important because now we're working with financial institutions and so on, so especially when you're sending proposals,
Right.
pitch decks, financials, right? Like it becomes important that the uploaded content is not going into open AI and it's compliant and so on. So that has become important to us. So all these things define how we, keep the data and train the model.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's very clear. And now, how you make sure the quality for the outputs are very controlled? Because sometimes you ask the same question for a ChatGPT, you're gonna have 10 different answers
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
And the answers for today are gonna be different than tomorrow because the
Yes.
things are moving.
Yes.
How do you control that?
And that's big. That's another big reason. So I know our CTO, Dennis, he'd been pushing me to move away from GPT onto our own platform because of that. Because the ChatGPT model is growing. The more and more billions of data is being added, the model is growing.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, the model is only tuned based on the data that you provided. So it stays consistent. So we have this concept called knowledge bank, okay? Let's say you have a Google Doc that has your feature lists, it has customer pain points, and it has some pricing information. Feed it in, and then you ask it, generate a grid for my feature lists. It's going to read exactly from that and generate it for you every single time. It's not going to be influenced by something that's happening outside in the world, right? So that's why we host a lot of this and train our own model for it, so that the consistency of generation stays. It's very important for B2B. Not so much maybe for like general marketing, but B2B definitely needs consistency.
What's the next features that you think to build into your platform?
So much, man. I feel like this doesn't end. We have understood that it's interesting, okay? So analytics has turned out to be a huge value add because ultimately it's great to have good looking collateral and everything, but it needs to drive a higher purpose. So how quickly can folks engage on it? So analytics in depth have become part of our roadmap. The other thing that's become very interesting is building sales intelligence or company intelligence. So hypothetically, so one of the customers that we're working with is, like you may have 10 different product features. Usually a customer may be interested in just 3 of those solutions, right? And you will have to package it. Today, based on the conversation, you need to pull the slides for just those, or like if a change happens here, then you need to go back and update all the old slides and stuff like that. So we are creating this concept of an asset library so that for these, if it's like a YouTube video and like 2-3 details about this feature, it's not like individual, like it's almost like a component that you can plug and play. So first we're trying to build an asset library for each organization. So it's very easy to build a pitch deck with existing assets. The second thing is we're going to build intelligence around it. So if you are pitching that customer, based on those requirements, we'll automatically suggest what type of assets so that you don't even have to build a pitch deck. It just automatically knows what to pull into the pitch deck just based on like previous actions and so on. So,
I see.
I think our AI will go significantly more than generative is what my prediction is. It's like generative was great to produce content, but AI is so much more than that. It's usage behavior. It's, how do we enhance our searches? It's also, let's say, integrating with CRMs and so on. But let's say I'm pitching a customer. I want to know about their LinkedIn, their G2, their existing website stuff. Just automatically pull that and populate information. So there's a lot. But my point is, I think we'll go beyond just generative. We will be doing a lot more insights-driven.
Right, and now we have some integration. You mentioned Slack, and what other integrations that you can get from the company itself to make the better results using the product?
It does vary from company to company, and because we are an early stage, depending on the company that comes in, we obviously try to build up to them. But you're right, like CRMs, largely, so that mainly it's like, can we pull the company name, can we pull the customer's name, so that it pre-populates within the content generation and so on. Slack is kind of cool. Obviously, Google Workspace is very cool, so that you can automatically pull up assets. We're also getting into some kind of early email creation. So if you want to generate an email to send a follow-up, based on a couple of keywords, it'll generate. We already have that in the platform. We're going to enhance it into campaigns and so on. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So for example, because I have been working with an agency recently, and we are just thinking to have a CRM in place. From the CRM, can your platform already pre-generate a proposal right away without me touch? Can we optimize this process?
The vision is to be able to do that. If you already know that there's a deal in play and there's some notes, let's say, about what that could be, plug that in. It'll already it doesn't integrate entirely with the CRM, but that's the vision. Because can we do that? Truthfully, I've noticed that you can use AI to get you 60% of the way there. It is important to have human intervention because this is customer facing assets. Right? So it is important. But yeah, if 60% of the work is done, sure, like anyone would be able to, like, you can close 4x more deals just because of that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, because it takes time to build proposals.
Absolutely. Proposals are number one use case. Number one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna ask it. So for me to create a business proposal, what I used to do on my video agency before, so I got the client after meeting, duplicate the last one, put the client information, put the proposal date. So those things.
Exactly.
For me, I pretty much did more than 600 business proposals or even more.
Yeah.
And then all the time, I need to go there, duplicate, change the dates, and things. If I can optimize this, I can reduce for 25 minutes for, I would say 5. Just to like review it. Like I said, there's some touches that you remember the meeting, but you not put somewhere. It's like, oh, okay, the clients mentioned this.
Yeah.
You just put there, do your final touches, and then send it.
Exactly.
That's good. That's really nice.
That's the vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So proposals number one. What else?
It's usually starts with proposal. We call this as, we don't have a better name for it, but we need a better name. It's called digital sales rooms. So because like when you talk to a customer and you send them that first response, they may ask you for more, send me some pricing information. Can you send me some examples of others who are using your like case studies and so on, right? So instead of sending them individual emails, we create a landing portal for each customer. You attach the proposal there, they can sign the contract, but you can also have before-after examples, customer testimonials, logos you worked with. So it's almost like a landing page for that customer.
Oh.
So they stay engaged in that one space. Everything, if they want to know specifically, like for me, a lot of times what happens is we'll pitch a customer, they send me your stuff, but they are specifically interested in, how does this, like you are interested in the proposal piece. We'll create just a Loom video for the proposal piece, plug it in there. So it's like a web page, which not only has that, but also has the Loom video just for that customer. And then you can duplicate this and so on, right? But having them engage in one spot. So it's like an extended proposal, right? It's not just the contract. It's basically more information to tell them, these guys are the right guys.
It's a smart proposal. I like it. I like the idea. So then, does the client that is receiving the proposal, is he receiving piece by piece, or how is the distribution of this content?
Yeah, so you can create a unique URL. So let's say you're working at AI Insights, okay? So it can be rowan-aiinsights.criya.ai, and this is your home base. For each customer, you can have your own unique URL. So let's say you're working with Criya, /Criya, /Halt, and so on, right? So for that customer, you just share that one URL. And you can create vanity URLs, so like multiple people within the organization can come and check. So if there are multiple decision makers, they can all see it. It's just that one URL for them.
Oh, and then the good part is that you mentioned they have the analytic dashboard. So then they can track more details.
Exactly.
Because if you send a PDF, the most you can do is if the client open an email, but sometimes he opened by mistake and then
you don't even know. And like, what if they opened it like once recently we created this for a customer because we were also kind of learning with her. There were 350 views in like 3 days. We're like, how? That means it got shared. That means there's a lot of interest, right? So we were like, okay, like that's so those kind of metrics. And then now we're also introducing time spent. So if someone spent like 10 minutes or 15 minutes just reviewing my proposal, they're definitely quite interested compared to someone who just opened it and closed it.
Because some people open a proposal, scroll down, price, okay.
And they're like, no, not interested in this thing. But if someone opened it, shared it around.
Click on the links.
And you will get to know about it. So you can at least follow up and say, hey, I saw that you were taking a look. Can I answer any questions, right? Because follow-ups are probably 70% of what actually closes a sale than like just selling.
Right, that's true.
Follow-ups and timely follow-ups are so crucial. So that's part of what we want to make sure we solve.
Nice. And what is the other cases that happened to you that was fun or something that you're not imagining that they used and they got the results?
Interesting stuff. So I didn't realize that personal branding will be such a big use case. Students. So students love it. They're like launching their own personal brand portfolios. And like yesterday, one student actually told us, she was like, our professor told us to use Weebly. She's like, I hate it. It took me so long. But this automatically pulls from my LinkedIn, and it already suggests, because I'm a student looking for an internship in the data science space. So it suggested what data science skill sets I should highlight. So it highlights not just your face and picture, but it'll come up with skill sets that you should talk about, maybe projects and like things that you can talk about. So she was like, this is awesome. I can start sharing it tomorrow. So that was very fascinating, and it's free for students. So like we like to make sure that everybody benefits from it. Another one, which is very interesting, is boot camps. Literally. So I've realized that people who are running like business boot camps and so on, they are not necessarily able to hire designers to create their pitch decks, and they create so many. I think they keep running these courses. So, and they want it to be on brand, and all these things are important to them because they're almost like entrepreneurs. They are running a business, but this is the business. So quickly generating pitch decks that look amazing. And there's like a ton of boot camps. Like, okay.
So then you also can do, so once you mentioned about websites, about landing pages with those piece of contents, right? On the page that you have it, what is the most content they consume there? Is more, or depends on the company?
You mean the type of content that's consumed?
Because we can enable videos, we can enable integrate other technologies into that. Not just the content itself generated by the AI, but you can integrate other topics. So what is the use case that you most see on the web page that have it?
So like I said, the most popular thing is proposals. So what they like to see is like a link to the pitch decks, a link to a proposal, and like a link to like a case study or a white paper or something. Like those types of use cases are most convincing, I think, for the buyer. We have things like icon library and stuff. So like you don't have to come up with like pictures and stuff like that. So like people love to use grids to like make that same, otherwise you will send an email. Here's a link to my pitch deck. Here's a link to my blah, blah, blah. You just put it in a grid of 3 with like cute icons and like fun links. People love it.
People love it, yeah. And what is the difference between you and Canva or other technologies like that?
It's a good question. I mean, look, Canva is very design heavy, I think, and it's fantastic. I love Canva. But if I tell my husband, who's a very senior director of sales, to use Canva, I actually asked him, he ran away. Because it's too much. It's too design heavy. For him,
almost like a Photoshop, it depends on the person.
Correct, right? So I think it's heavily targeted toward marketers and people who are willing to actually care about that degree of design, right? We focus a little bit more on the professionals who are not looking at design, but they do need to create good collateral because they're facing clients. So my husband is a great example, and like several others who are in like IT consulting and B2B SaaS, and like, these guys are like account reps and so on. They want to go close a sale, get drinks with the buyer, and like, move. They're not going to spend, like, I've seen some decks, like sometimes I'm like, it hurts me to see some of the like.
And sometimes even influence the final result.
It does, because I'm telling you, sometimes a company will have an amazing product, but if you cannot effectively communicate it,
you're over.
That's the bottom line, and it's not the AE's fault if he's not a designer, right? Or he's not a copywriter. So those are the skill sets that he doesn't need to have. And so many of the teams that we work with, because they're that Series A level types, they don't have a full marketing team, and they don't want to depend. Like the AEs don't want to depend on a marketing team. They want to reduce the dependency because marketing team will focus on website and external Facebook ads and stuff like that. So these guys have to pretty much generate on their own, which will look bad. Or if they're slightly big and they have a marketing team and they have to wait for marketing to finish their top priority tasks and so on. So we're kind of empowering these folks to be able to move faster with high quality. Yeah.
Nice. For the business model now, how does work your pricing model? Is per project, per month, for team members? How does it work?
Yeah, we're like a classic SaaS product. So we have a freemium tier, and then there's for a normal user, there's like a professional tier, which is SaaS, monthly subscription. Or for enterprise, we do like enterprise licensing. So if you have a team of 10, there's a certain pricing, and then volume-based, so on.
Now talk about the future of AI. So a lot of people has been different opinions about AI. I want to hear what is your opinion 5 to 10 years of the AI technology?
So much, right? I mean, when you think about mobile, right? Like when you think about what things were before, like earlier, think about how like the behavior was before this, Zoom was a thing. Today, when someone just does this, we know automatically what it means. That's what I think. Like that concept, firstly, of having things on a mobile phone, to just be able to do a touchscreen and expand, and it actually happens. It's like kids who are born today don't even know a life where that doesn't exist, right? So I think AI is basically, I mean, especially generative AI is here to stay. And with this whole advent where even my mom now understands how to use it. She doesn't effectively use it, but she was like, if I'm planning my trip to go visit my sister, can ChatGPT help me? I was like, yes, it actually can. So things like that. So like it has become part of a consumer's life. And the way it's part of a consumer's life, it's here to stay. So
You just said that my grandmother, she's gonna do a 50 years anniversary with my grandfather.
oh, cool.
So they are doing like a kind of like website to like
So
invite
cute.
people, and then they come up with like, oh, how can I need to? There's a story. How can I write the story? And they have just the basic. And then my mom's like, oh, just use ChatGPT.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay. So then they did it, and the story was super nice.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, my grandmother, she's gonna marry my grandfather for 50 years and know how to use it. So that is so cool.
It is really cool. I think that's the future. I think it's not a question of what is the future of AI. It is AI, right? So like, I know like when I was at PayPal, part of my job was I led the AI transformation for customer success platforms. So things like if a customer is calling us, in customer success, we would need to be able to predict the intent of the customer before they call so that the agent is ready with an answer. Imagine you have to explain yourself for 10 minutes and then the agent. So we used to do intent prediction. We used to do loyalty prediction. So if a customer is pissed off, how do you recommend, here's a $5 coupon for you or a $15 coupon for you? It's all based on AI. We would see your engagement behavior, your potential lifetime value for the company. AI has been there all along. But most product managers that I had worked with would not think from that perspective. It wasn't part of the day-to-day DNA. Today, you have to. You have to make sure that even if you're adding a button on a screen, you better keep that in mind because you need to think about how can this be enhanced, how can this be made more efficient with AI. I think that's the world we're going into.
And you have been living here in San Francisco for many years, right?
Yeah.
When you think about building such a thing here in San Francisco, would you build anywhere else in the world, or you think here has something special?
I think if you're building a tech startup, I think San Francisco is the most special place to be. But I'll be honest, I do a lot of work with female founders in small businesses. So I travel to Nashville, I even travel to New York, Austin, and all these places. Tech is not as accessible and embraced, and AI is far from their control. There are many people are even like afraid to embrace AI because they don't know what it is. So part of what I do is also I do a lot of education around helping female. I'm in fact doing a talk soon to help female founders who are in small businesses, who are in non-technical fields. They have a food business or they have a writing PR business, how they can embrace AI to make things more efficient. They can increase their sales, they can increase their marketing. So I do boot camps to help them embrace. So I think it's awesome, but it also living in San Francisco is awesome. But I also think the user base is massive, but it needs to be educated so that they can use the product.
And that leads for the next question: how people can get more educated into AI? So people that know a bit what's going on, but want to go deep into that. What do you recommend?
I think there's many ways, obviously, that you can read about it. There's podcasts, there's books, and all these different things. I also feel like if you can get involved in a community, I think it's fantastic. So I really like what you guys are doing because you're not just doing this through sharing one-sided content. You're bringing different perspectives, which are so valuable. Like my journey into it, that's true of anything, to be honest, but like AI in particular or tech in particular, if you are in company of peers who are trying something. You learn a little bit, but you don't feel like, oh, I don't know anything, so I'm scared to even get into it. I think if you can get a peer group and you can attend some networking events, I really think it's the best way to start embracing it.
Nice, nice. Deb, thank you so much for coming here today, share your knowledge, talk about your product. I'm super excited to share this with everyone else.
Thank you so much, Rowan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this content. And I see you on the next episode. Thank you.